So, guess what? It's time again for the May Wild West Show, the podcast where we tell the hedonistic adventures of myself, my husband, Mr. West, and my friends in the modern American Wild West. Yeah, the Rocky Mountain region, where it's usually so damn cold that we've got nothing better to do than fuck from October till March. This is the show where we tell the stories of our sometimes reckless, usually sexy, probably awkward, and always thrilling lives. My name is, of course, May Wild West, and I'm a trophy wife, embarrassing mom, the loudest person pretty much anywhere, and a member of a super secret squirrel shit naughty club. Shh. My husband and I swing. Sometimes hot wife, but mostly just enjoy spending time with our friends and having kinky sex. My entire life, I've had a tendency to get myself into some amazing adventures and sticky situations. Partially because my curiosity gets me into trouble, and partially because my motto is, I'll try anything for science. Once, probably twice, but if you're going to follow the scientific method, at least 3 times. The stories we share will be sexy, spicy, and completely inappropriate for kids. Think sex, drugs, rock and roll, and a load of laundry. As always, this podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional or heck, even good advice sometimes. Now let's full send into today's episode, and guess what I did? Fucked up over and over and over again. I can tell you that I, over the last 6-7 years that we've been doing this, have screwed up a lot. And I have even made the same mistake over and over again. Like Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again. But I guess that beats the hell out of Baby Hit Me One More Time. And I don't know necessarily if they're always mistakes when you've done the same thing more than once, but I have a tendency to make mistakes. And the biggest reason I think that I have a tendency to make mistakes is because I am trying to avoid a future problem by not talking about something right now. Yeah, I know, completely unreasonable. But I don't like talking about my feelings. It's not that much fun. Let me set the stage. First things first that you need to know is when we started out in the lifestyle, I was over 100 pounds heavier than I am now. And sometimes in my head, I forget that I am not still that girl and that I am a lot more attractive than I was back then. And I had always been heavier, and I had gotten used to not really getting the attention from boys or men, which is kind of an excuse. But when we started out in the lifestyle even, we didn't get that many bites. It was a lot harder to find people who wanted to play with us, who wanted to have sex with us, who wanted to have sex with, and I guess what I felt like with me. And so sometimes I forget that I am not still that lady who is begging for people to pay attention to her. And one of the ways that this sort of insecurity craziness of mine gets in the way with Mr. West and I and our looking for potential play partners is that I have a tendency to be afraid that somebody will quit talking to me. Then I fuck up. And the stupid part is I don't even know why I do it. Well, I guess technically I do. I just said I know why I do it. But... And the biggest way that I fuck this up is through texting people. When you are talking on, say, Reddit or FetLife, either my husband or I can log into those and we can see all the messages. And it's real easy because everybody can see everything and there's nothing that's ever hidden. But once a conversation moves to a, like, say, Kik, or moves to Snapchat, or moves to just a regular text messaging, then with couples, we always start a group chat. Simple, easy. Everybody wants to get to know each other. Everybody wants to make sure they got like the vibes cool. Everybody's open, honest. It's just the way we do it. With single guys, sometimes moving that to a group chat in like a Snapchat or whatever seems to be a lot harder for me. Irrational fear. What if pushing for a group chat makes this person not want to talk to us anymore? Who the fuck cares? Evidently me. So, while when we started out, the rule was always doing a group chat, as we've moved along and whatever, we've gotten away from it in some ways. And, I don't think that it is what was best for us. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately. This is why I'm bringing this up. Because I think about probably one of my best friends and one of the greatest guys that I've met in the lifestyle. And I've known him we've known him for, I asked him today how long, and we were both like forever at least. But I think I met him, God, I don't know. Maybe it was FetLife, maybe it was something else. I can't remember. The little profile picture had a meme about something to do with coffee. And I love coffee, so that caught my attention, and we started joking and laughing, and through the ups and downs and the times that we have stepped away from the lifestyle, my friend, Mr. Coffee, has always been there. And the reason why I think this is because he has a really good relationship with Mr. West too, because they do group text. In fact, Mr. Coffee and I got into this big disagreement because, well, he broke one of my rules or my boundaries limits. And it was actually Mr. West who got us back together because he was pretty sure that I needed to have this friend in my life. And I think that if it wasn't for this group text situation, then that friendship with Mr. Coffee would never have turned into what it is. And I can tell you what it is some primo dick also. We've only done it a few times, but every time, primo. If you are a fan of my Reddit profile, you may possibly see a picture of him. He's the one getting a blowjob in the pickup. So, good guy, great listener, great dick. And after writing the outline for this podcast and thinking this all through, my other excuse for why it is that moving to a group chat is so difficult is the idea that it gets embarrassed, or that a guy would be more comfortable flirting with me without Mr. West as part of the conversation. Even he has suggested that is part of the reason why these group chats are so difficult to make work. Whether it's because I have a hard time getting into the group chat, or the group chat doesn't really seem to work once we're in it. But the question of the day is, does it not work because that wasn't going to work anyway? Think about it. If you can't flirt with me in front of my husband, then how the fuck are you going to fuck me in front of my husband? And if I can't flirt with you in front of my husband, then how the fuck am I going to suck your dick in front of my husband? So one thing I realized, that the guys that I do not put into a group chat with my husband and I, the chances that we ever actually make it to having sex is a lot lower. And the guys that I don't put into a group chat, the sex that we have is generally not as good. Causative, correlative, got nothing to do with each other? I don't know. So, while I may have, over the last few months, pulled a Britney and oops, I did it again and started individually messaging single guys, this episode of this podcast and this little segment here has really made me reevaluate that, because I think that the key to Mr. West and I's relationship and the key to us having a good time and a successful time in the lifestyle is remembering to make sure it is about both of us and not just one of us. And I can tell you that adding this podcast into our relationship and adding this into our lifestyle journey, as it were, has put a stress on that, because it's a lot more about me and me trying to take care of this podcast and me trying to take care of social media than it is about me or us trying to find somebody for us to play with. That's my new goal for the coming months, is to stick to the group chats and avoid that trap. Ha ha ha. And I will say that is the one thing that starting this podcast has really helped me to do. And that is putting on my big girl panties and my Batman mask and really looking at what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and whether what I'm doing is what's best for me and my husband and our marriage versus just me and what I want and my orgasms. So I'm sure Mr. West is going to love that. So I think we're a little bit short today, but I want to send a special shout out to one of my listeners, and I'm pretty sure you're going to know who you are. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. I do want to remind everybody to subscribe and check out my social media for more fun and stories and polls. I have a Instagram page at May Wild West. I have a Facebook page that is May Wild West, and I have Reddit that is at May Wild West, and that's MAYWYLDWEST. Also, I have a website, and that link will be in my podcast description. And don't forget that the May Wild West show is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And I would really appreciate you going over and checking out my social media pages, and even putting a review on one of my podcasts would be fantastic. So if you had a good time with me today, and I am always a good time, please make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss out on a single riveting story, amazing episode, heart-rending confession, or just something dirty and funny. Also, don't forget to share my podcast with your other inappropriate friends. You would be my hero, and I love hearing your feedback, so feel free to message me on any of my social media. Thanks, and I'll talk to you guys later.